Welcome to the Slammers Podcast. This podcast, its authors, and its hosts are not in any way sponsored, licensed, or endorsed by, affiliated with, or connected to the Golf Association of Philadelphia or any of its affiliates. The Golf Association of Philadelphia and its affiliates do not endorse or support this podcast, the authors or hosts contributing to this podcast, or any of the content or opinions expressed herein. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely and exclusively those of the authors and hosts and do not represent or reflect the policies, views, positions, or opinions of the Golf Association of Philadelphia or any of its affiliates.
Welcome to the Slammers Podcast. I am Beau, joined as usual by my good buddy and co-host, Ben Litt. We are coming to you live from Marlton, New Jersey, home of the hottest golfer in our section right now. We'll get more into that in a little bit, and also a lot of other tournaments to catch up on, a lot of storylines. But before we do that, Ben, I want to hear how you're doing. We haven't caught up in a while. What's going on in the guy's head right now?
Yeah, it's we're getting to the tail end of the golf season here. I would be lying if I was saying I wasn't in a rut with my game. You know, just the scores are ugly, and the final results are ugly. I feel like I'm hitting the ball well. My putting's been improved, but I'm not signing any great cards right now. How about you?
Looks like you're gonna have to wait till 2025 to right this ship.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I haven't been playing at all, so really much at all. I just kind of picked the sticks back up in the last week or so and dealing with some health things. But I'm really excited to talk some golf. We have so many good things to talk about today. Let's start off with the USGA qualifying, the fourball. Let's start off with USGA qualifying. We'll go into the fourball, and then we'll touch on the mid-am, both the qualifying and the championship proper. Mm-hmm. The fourball, we've had 2 qualifiers so far?
We have had 2, yep. Technically 3 if you want to count the Maryland one.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that does drag in some cats from Philly.
Sure.
What was the number at that one? I didn't follow that one.
That was 6.
6?
Yes.
That course is usually on the lower side, right?
Yeah. Long golf course.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was 6.
What's that called? Like Rockwell Manor or
Worthington Manor.
Worthington Manor, okay.
Yeah.
Anybody notable from Philly get in there?
No.
Nothing? Okay.
No.
So we'll skip that one. We had a qualifier at New Jersey National on August 26th, where there were some Philadelphia teams that were vying for a spot there. Once again, nobody from our area got in, it looks like. I don't recognize... Matthew Vitale does carry a Bethlehem address. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if I know the name or not. He was paired with somebody from Baltimore, Maryland, Bennett Eppenshade. But the other 2 are North Jersey guys, were the first team, Blake Barnes and Liam Pasternak. And then the other one was a Maryland team. So nothing notable there from Philly. I think there was a card we did want to note, though, from a local guy.
Well, and we should also note, too, the qualifying number there they had 3 spots there. It was 7 under.
Uh-huh.
And then it looked like, God, was there 7 at 6 under?
Mm-hmm.
Looking down the leaderboard, looked like kind of a war zone out there.
Mm-hmm.
You had to bring like all the weapons to make it through here.
Came down to 1 putt for a lot of teams.
Yeah, a lot of big names in here in that group at 6. Some Jersey fourball winners, some U.S. fourball qualifiers in the past too. But yeah, do we want to touch on one of the cards that we saw in there?
And in that pack of 6 that you're mentioning was Alex Butler's team. Alex Butler and Brian Fisher, both out of the Philadelphia area. Alex Butler had 8 birdies on his own ball. And he's going to be sitting on the couch come May 15th of next year when the championship's being held. That just can't feel too good. And I don't want to speculate here his relationship with Brian. They could be really good buddies, but he absolutely just gave him nothing.
Right.
Butler had 8 birdies, 9 pars, right, and 1 double. And that the hole he doubled, Brian also doubled.
Right. And I know Alex, so I went to high school with him, really good player. He qualified for he's a Drexel guy, qualified for the U.S. Mid-Am last year too, so he's obviously playing some just amazing golf. But as far as the partnership, this seems like something I would do to a partner, right?
Right.
Guy makes 8 birdies, and like, there's just no way I'm going to help him out at all, right? So this just seems nuts.
I'd be shocked if you see those guys on the tee sheet next year together. I mean, I don't care how close they are.
Alex is a great guy, so I wouldn't put it past him running it back, right? But I don't know, man.
Maybe if the fish find some game, but that's really tough. That just seems like a really Dayton down situation there for Alex, and it's just such a large gap there. All he had to do was just get a bogey on that 12th hole and they're in. That's it. That's all. Very rarely do you say, usually when you're dating up in a better ball partnership, right? You're thinking, I need to get a couple birdies and just par a hole that he bogeys.
Right.
All he had to do was bogey a hole that Alex doubled. You don't really hear that being said too often.
Right. The bar is really low.
380-yard hole. But that's tough. I mean, we've all been on the wrong side of those partnerships, and I mean, when I say wrong side, like you and I have been the Brian Fisher of those partnerships.
Too many times.
Yeah.
100%. And no one knows about dating up more than me, right? That's kind of my MO at this point, right? But yeah, also worth noting, I mean, obviously some of the cards don't fill out all of the scores, but low round of the day for Alex too, 66. So, I mean, low round of the field. Yeah. Right? 8 birdies. About as good as you can do in one of those things.
With 100%. With some really like world class golfers out there. Marcus Stanza was in the field. A couple really really good players out there, and if it's a U.S. Mid-Am qualifier, he's lapping the field. So yeah, something to be said there. And the other qualifier was recently at Galloway, which was last week as of our recording date. That's always such a good test for a USGA qualifier.
An examination.
It is. It's a true examination, and it's almost like it's such a tough course that I would think the lesser players wouldn't even bother signing up at. I know when I see it come out and I see like late September, you're thinking it could be windy out there. I might not be playing as much.
Right.
It's really a daunting task.
Yeah, you can get blown out to sea on a couple of those holes, right?
Yeah, and we saw that in the scores. I mean, the scores were high. It was windy that day. It was cooler. We had one DNF. I guess one team ran out of golf balls. But other than that, everybody else carded put up a score. Nelson Hargrove and Voltaire Escalona with the DNF there. That's tough in a 4-ball to not finish. I don't know if I really have ever, right? I mean, obviously there's a darkness thing and stuff that plays into. I'm not saying if there was, but I'm saying, but like to just to say like, hey, we're out of here, like we're
Yeah, they were only 1 over through 12 holes.
Maybe they.
At least that's what I'm seeing.
That 13th hole.
Oh no, I'm sorry, they were 2 over.
That 13th hole is tough. They might have just hit a couple pumpers and just gotten out of there.
Okay. Yeah.
So the number out there was 5 under, and a really nice storyline around that too. A local guy, Benjamin Feld, and Scott Ehrlich, who also got in last year at Cricket Club, I believe. So that's back to back for those guys, and the way they got in was in some pretty impressive fashion.
Yeah, I mean they had it going, man. They were, what were they, 5 under through? They made the turn in 5 under, and then birdied 10 and 11 to get to 7. And then the axle got a little creaky. Made a bogey on 13, and then they took a double on 15. We talked about that in the last qualifier. Taking a double is almost probably a death sentence.
Yeah.
In a better ball qualifier in the USGA, right? You'd say.
Absolutely.
But then, I mean, just to have the heart to make birdie on 17, that 243-yard par 3 down the hill there, and like we were saying, that probably we were looking at the scores, like you would think the wind was probably downwind, right, in order to make a deuce, but I don't know. You tell me. I
mean, usually the wind's blowing off the bay there, right, or right to left. From at least when I play there, the few times I've seen it. I think it said that, and Scott was the one who made the birdie. It said he hit a hybrid in there.
Okay.
Right, so that makes me think it wasn't into the wind, because 243 into the wind, there's probably not a whole lot of guys that are lacing hybrid to 15 feet.
Yeah,
and a stiff breeze there. It's probably 260, 265 shot. Probably maybe just right to left, but nonetheless, I can't think of almost a harder hole to have to make birdie on than that hole. Yeah. To get in, like when you have 2 holes left, right? So Yeah, it's great they made that, and you said they were able to rebound after starting to stumble in there a little bit. At 7 under through 11, you're starting to really envision yourself at Hamilton Farms. Yeah, well, booked. It's just I think it's at Hamilton.
Plainfield.
Plainfield. The next year it's at Hamilton. I'm sorry. Yeah. Plainfield, correct. Yeah, booked the hotels. Some other notable names in the field. So the other team that got in was Alex Hicks and David Hicks, and at 6 under from the South Jersey Shore out of Cape May Courthouse. And then there's a few other notable Philadelphia names in here. Close calls by Brian Gillespie, who just moved to Arizona. I guess he flew back for this one.
Okay.
Brought the old St. David Slayer back for a one more go around in the area.
Not?
Yeah,
right.
He misses it by 1. We talked about him. What was he? 35 straight wins in Gap.
Something very silly.
Just yeah. Anything else notable in this? They missed it by 1. Richard Riva missed by 1. Brian Itzwan and Stu Rickenbach missed by 2. One more notable thing I wanted to say. It's really been a year of, I guess, 3 guys in the Gap section, right? Zach Drescher, John Rusk, and Troy Vannucci. Rusk has just really been putting on some incredible displays of golf. I mean, at Galloway, right? This is another one where, if he was playing a U.S. Mid-Am qualifier on his own ball, he probably would have been medalist or would have gotten in. He had 5 birdies out there at Galloway that day. He birdied the 14th hole, right, which is that 215-yard par 3.
Mm-hmm.
Very few birdies on that hole. He birdied the 15th, which was playing as one of the hardest holes on the day, the hole that Ben Feld and them doubled.
Yep.
And then he birdied 18, which is always it's such a hard hole to birdie. And then Jim Sullivan just didn't make the trip down to the Jersey Shore. He, good player, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all know his history. He's a very esteemed player, but wasn't his best day out there. His card looks more like a bowling outing than a golf outing. A lot of X's on there.
Yeah.
Look like some of those Ben Litt cards from last year in some of the better ball events.
Right, you're right. Yeah, we were forward facing about that too. We put that up on the Twitter feed. That was a disgrace. Tough on the eyes seeing some of those cards that I had last year.
Yeah, at some point when you almost kind of blame it on the scorekeeper a bit. It's like, can we just kind of throw in a fall? Like, just throw in some bogeys. Those X's just look so bad. Like the image you paint is that the guy's just playing in his pocket all day. Right? He's just out there cheerleading. Come on, John.
Like it's almost to the point where like you're in your head. It's like for every 2 X's, you assume at least 1 ball is lost.
Right.
And if you see if you see 6 X's, that's a sleeve.
Yeah.
Right? At least plus,
at a minimum.
Right.
And
knowing Galloway, right, that's probably up from the sleeve there.
Yeah. Or you get the impression that he's blading bunker shots back and forth, and it's just a complete mess out there.
Yeah. Right.
I think that's all we have there. Moving on to U.S. Mid-Am qualifying. We had 2. You and I played in Hackensack. We touched on that in the last podcast. That was a while back. Mm-hmm. They had 2 qualifiers in the section. One at Carlisle, mm-hmm. right? I guess that's in our section, even though it's like a 3-hour drive. And then Wyncote, right?
Yes.
We'll start with Carlisle. I was actually out there on Troy's bag. That was my first time seeing the place. We played a practice round the day before. I know they have a qualifier out there every year. You've never seen that place, right?
Never. Nope.
Underwhelming, I would say. Not a great layout or great conditions. I'm kind of surprised how many guys make the trip out there every year because it's not really close for anybody. Right? It's out there a good 3 hours from us, essentially 250 or whatever, and even the guys in Philly, it's at least 2.
And especially like you said the conditions aren't really great. The layouts, nothing to write home about too. So again, the drive is confusing.
The vibes are horrendous out there too. I mean,
really?
Absolutely horrendous. Okay. Like the surrounding area, just very, very low vibes. Like it's
like
just,
Pennsylvania sort of thing.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, exactly. Like They're you can on the 9th hole you can hit your drive and walk across the street and go grab a Slim Jim at the gas station and come back and not miss any action. Like that's how close that's how close you are. There's a Waffle House over there too. If you want to put in, if you like the All-Star Special, you can go.
Okay.
Put that in for the turn.
Battered.
You can almost order that at the turn and stop by and pick it up. And
I was about to say you kind of have some good access to some halfway house accommodations over there, right?
Yeah, you have a lot of options in the way of junk food. But yeah, I don't want to get into the course too much. I mean, it feels almost low beating it up. It's just it doesn't pretend to be good. It's just not a good golf course in any way. But I'm surprised the scores are as high as they are usually out there. This year they were a little bit lower, but in the past even par has gotten in there. What was the number this year?
Number was 3.
3.
Yeah, there were 3 spots available. 2 guys at 3 under, 1 guy at 5 under. Medalist.
And to me, that aligns more with what I saw. I mean, because it's the greens I thought were relatively benign. I was going in there thinking this place is going to be crazy tricky with greens, and I thought the greens were, like I said, relatively easy. And then it's just a lot of the tee. It's one of those courses. It's hard to hit fairways. There's like a lot of canted fairways, and you can kind of run off into like weird lies. It's just right a lot of variables and a lot of just weird stuff going on.
Firm out there? It was late August.
Yeah, it wasn't soft, but I wouldn't say it was. I would say medium firmness.
Okay.
But yeah, a place I would never go back to, the caddy or play. So who got in there again?
Kevin Fatt. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce his name. FAJT. He was the medalist at 5 under 65, and then 2 Gap Philly guys, John Lally at 3 under, Aaron Frick at 3 under.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's right. I remember that. And then, so let's flash forward to the championship proper real quick. We'll just check that off. So outside of Andy Butler and William Davenport, did anyone else really have any success there that I'm missing off the top of my head?
Not to my knowledge.
So Andy was the 4 seed, I believe, in the qualifying?
Yeah.
And he was only, I think, missed medalist by, was it 1 or 2 shots?
I think it was 2 shots.
2 shots, yeah. He's really, he's really gotten good, man. That's some really impressive stuff. I mean, you see those match play scorecards, right? And some of the stuff we saw, those guys are really, really good. And for him to go out and be the top guy in stroke play, right, or one of the top guys, that's a good measuring stick for him. And
I don't want to toot our own horn here, but I think we were banging the table for Andy a year ago, right? Like we were always mentioning him about a guy that's like always in the mix. Doesn't have like the peak week where he wins, right, one of the majors, but like the guy is more in the mix than any guy that I can really think of in the Gap.
Yeah, very consistent.
Right.
I think in the actual Gap, he may have had a little bit of a down year for maybe what he was expecting.
Right.
But then to be able to finish the season strong off like he did was
100%.
Was good to see. To get into the U.S. Mid-Am at Hackensack, he clutched it. I think he birdied 2 holes coming down the stretch and then birdied the playoff hole to get in.
Yep.
And then goes right from that to the 4 seed. I think he lost in the first round, but nonetheless a really good showing. And then, I mean, what Davenport did was just... that's got to be the best run in recent history in our area, right? I don't think we really have had out since I think Mike McDermott back at Stonewall. Was that in 2015? Was it that
15,
long?
16, somewhere in there.
Yeah, he made the Final Four. But yeah, I don't think anyone else has gone on any kind of run in the national event like that since. And in my lifetime, there's been very few runs, even in. From a Jersey perspective, I know Mike Stamberger made the semifinals 1 year in the U.S. Mid-Am, and I know obviously Costanza, who technically is a Jersey guy, made the finals a couple of years ago, losing to Hagestad, I think at San Katie Head, the one off of Nantucket.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, seeing Davenport, we didn't even talk about the best part about Davenport, slaying the dragon.
Oh, Stu. Yeah, taking down Big Stu. Yeah, with that broomstick. That's good stuff that a Philly guy could take him down. I've heard some stories about Stewie. Maybe that's for another time, but nonetheless, good to take that take that guy down.
Yeah, it takes a real gritty guy to knock off a guy like that, right?
Yeah.
It's fitting that a Philly guy did it.
Right.
And I think he birdied. Did he birdie the last 3 holes? I think
he
did.
did.
I think he did.
Yeah,
right. Just kind of put him down,
Iceman.
put him to sleep. Yeah. So just do it. Not today. No, I'm not. These other guys want to fold. No fold here.
Yeah, and it is such a joke because Will didn't even make. He played really well in the Philly Am and couldn't even make the final this year. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just golf is such a fickle game, man.
Well, it just shows how good our section is too.
I know.
It's like a guy who's beat the number 1 mid-am player in the world. I mean, he's been the number 1 mid-am player in the world for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people say that, they think he could, have some success on tours if he really, went after it. Mm-hmm. And for a guy in our section, a guy who works, I know he works at a good company. He does actually have to work a little bit. Mm-hmm. To go out and beat him and you said not even win our, really compete in anything in our section. It's kind of, it's pretty telling.
Right. It also brings into question why I would even sign up for the Philly Am next year. Right. It also brings into question why I would even sign up for the Philly Am next year. Right. So we'll leave that there.
Yeah, you start looking at it that way, and you go down the tree of like, best mid-am player in the world lost to a guy I'm gonna try to play against.
Probably not.
Yeah. No. It's funny. And then the last mid-am qualifier we wanted to touch on was Wyncote. You got anything there, Ben?
No. Yeah. I guess I'll say this: I was stoked to play Hackensack instead of Wyncote as far as venues go. I think it's just a pretty average course. Is it semi-private? Private?
I think it's public.
Is it public?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I think for a public course, it's pretty good. Mm-hmm. And if it was a private course, you'd be like, it's just okay, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's definitely nice. Some nice vistas out there.
Sure. Yeah, it looks like the number there was 3. There were 5 guys that got in. 2 Maryland guys, 2 North Carolina guys getting in, as well as Mike Davis. So.
Dan Walters was one of them, right? He comes up every year and gets one.
That's always interesting. Those guys make the trip up.
I know.
To play Wyncote in the U.S. Mid-Am Qual. I don't know why. I guess the fields down there are that good. I don't know.
I think he's local. I'm pretty sure he won a Gap Major years ago, or a junior. I'm pretty sure he grew up in the area, and probably it's like an annual thing. He comes back and sees the family and friends or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he comes up every year, and he almost gets in every year. I know he's also, I think, gotten some U.S. locals up here too.
Gotcha.
Good player.
Looked like a big logjam at Red Figs too. It looked like 3 was a playoff. That was a 6 for 2 playoff. Mm-hmm. And then there was just a whole host of guys at 1. I think almost 10 guys at 1, 8 guys at even. So it was definitely it seemed like a putting contest, right? It comes down to 1 or 2 putts that is either going to make or break that round. Yeah,
that place is pretty wide open. For a better amateur player, you're not going to really fear many drives out there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just like a bomb and gouge. And like you said, you just got to... It is more of a putting contest style golf course. All right, so that's it for the Mid-Am. All the USGA stuff, right, we're caught up on. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about... I mentioned it earlier about the run that Troy has gone on. And... it really makes me look at myself, right? Because I caddy for him at Carlisle, right? In the midst of this run he's going on, right? So he's won 5 tournaments in 5 starts, and as we're recording this, it's gonna most likely be 6 for 6. They have the Eagle Oaks Invitational going on right now, and I don't want to jinx the guy, but he's currently has a 3-shot lead. And, he's just been playing so well. So here's a stat. In the last 90 holes of competitive golf, right, he's had 2 bogeys.
That's unfathomable.
And so to go back to this run, so first win was his club championship at Little Mill. Hey, it's a club championship, but it's still a win, right? It's a start and it's a win. Second win was the Patterson Cup, right? The third win was the Bergen County Am up in North Jersey. fourth win was a better ball, like a Philly Publix better ball, and then the fifth win was the PA Mid-Am at Mosellum. I caddied for him at Carlisle, and it was his worst round of the year. He said it was the worst round he's had in years. I mean, I can't help but look at myself in the mirror there and say, like, take part of the blame for that,
sure.
right?
If not all
of the blame.
Right?
Yeah, I think not only was it a disappointing year from a playing standpoint, but also from a looping perspective. That was my one loop, and it couldn't be. It would almost be like caddying for Tiger in the midst of his slam, and he goes out and shoots like 75 at Harbour Town or something.
Yeah, and EMC hammers it.
Right, yeah, and it's like you can. The evidence points right back at you.
Yeah.
We had a little incident out there, and I want to run this by you because I really want your honest take here. I haven't told you about this yet. We played the practice round together, right? And this is right off Troy winning the Patterson Cup, right? A few days later, and he's just been playing fantastic for a month straight. And we go in the practice round, and through 14 holes, right, he's hit one fairway.
Okay.
He's spraying the ball. Not only directionally misses, but also spinny, just very weird, right? Very weird shots. Mm-hmm. And I got to the point where I've kind of seen enough, right? We had 2 holes left, and as a caddy, I'm thinking, they don't have a range where you can hit drivers there. I'm like, something's not right here, right? So I started kind of just looking at his setup just to think, like, what maybe there's something a little off. Maybe I can help a little bit, whatever. Mm-hmm. And all I did was say, like, hey, where do you usually play the driver in your stance, right? And he says, off my left heel, which is stock, right? For really any kind of baseline instructional would say to play it off your left heel. And he had a ball or two back of that. So I just said, hey, look, man, looks like it's creeping a little back in your stance. Maybe that's why you're getting a little stuck and getting a little spinny and out to the right. Anyway, it seems like I fucked him up. Right, because then the whole next day he said he was thinking, and like for me saying that, and just got him like kind of out of whack. And he's like, I wasn't worried about it. Now I'm worried about it, type of deal. I don't know. I mean, I saw a large enough sample size to think that something was going on, right? Whether he recognized it or not.
If you see something, say something.
Right. But do you think I should have just kept my mouth shut? What do you think? I mean, honestly, I kind of looking back on it, I feel like I should have.
Yeah, regardless of what he thinks of it or if it caused him to think the next day or whatever, I'm probably shutting my mouth. Mm-hmm. Golf's so hard that like one day is not like indicative of how really you're playing. Like if he hits the driver bad that day, it's like, whatever. Like it's just one of those days, right? I'm probably not saying anything just because I'm a pussy and I don't want to have the blowback of being wrong because it's really a no-win proposition for me. Yeah. Right. Like if I'm right, he just plays his normal game. Right. And if I'm wrong, exactly what happened. Right. He's in his own head. He can't find the planet. Right. Yeah. That's kind of the way I look at it.
The only thing I'll add to that is that he really is one of the best drivers I've ever seen. I mean, he pretty much usually just hits every fairway 290. That's really not an exaggeration. Like I mean, like he'll go out to Little Mill and just hit every fairway. So to foresee him just like spraying the ball over the place, like it's just so, so odd to see. So what's the word? Why am I saying odd? Why am I from?
Bizarre. Yeah,
it was just so bizarre to witness, right? And you're just kind of thinking like something's not right here. But I should have just kept my mouth shut.
And do
you believe in like the caddy challenge theory? Like you get one challenge as a caddy. What do you think of that? Like you pretty much have one point of a round or a practice round to say something. Other than just carrying the bag,
Right, but I don't know. I feel like I've definitely spent some time with the bib on. I would say my challenge is going to be with like course strategy and management than like a mechanics swing thing. Yeah. Like if the guy wants to like take it over this corner and I'm pushing to go a little bit more conservative, right, to not challenge a bunker. Yeah. That's kind of where my challenge. I'll burn the challenge flag and maybe risk losing that timeout.
And if you're right, you get another one. If not, you're kind of done.
Right. Yeah, 100%. I feel like that's where I think my ad is my value add is at a caddy. So I don't venture into the
No,
The swing.
No,
the swing
it wasn't
advice.
even really this. I would never tell anybody about their swing ever. It was more just like something maybe's a little off. Let me take a look.
Sure.
Notice the ball's back here. It was more just like a data point to say, hey, you like it here. This is where you're currently playing it.
Sure.
Take it out, take it or leave it.
But to your point about challenges, though, I mean, as a caddy with course management and strategy stuff, I'm more than happy to blow through that one challenge. I'll go 3.
Yeah.
At least during a round. Like if I see something with a course management thing, I'm pretty earnest with that stuff. I have no problem not limiting myself to like 1 or 2 a round. If I see something, right?
Yeah, you don't just have the one button sitting there waiting to push.
Right.
All right. Well, I felt bad about it because I know that the mid-am was big for him, and I definitely felt like I let him down a bit. But, it's the old win is. So back to his 5 in a row. So the only one we'll touch on the PA mid-am, right? That was the other big one in that stretch, and that was at Mosellum.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about that. We've spoken very fondly of that place, right?
Yeah, I was there very recently.
Yeah, donating balls into that farm on the left, right?
Yep.
Shot 6 under en route to a 4-shot victory. Pretty convincing there. For the 36 holes, 7 birdies, 28 pars, and 1 bogey.
Again, very unrelatable. Especially, I mean,
recent data points from
right,
you.
like very recent, very fresh data points of my 11 bogey, 0 birdie foray out there with what a shame.
That is the 11 spot. Double-digit bogeys is tough to do. Maybe
well,
10.
hold on,
You had a double in there, maybe.
Yeah, I think
either way, but it's
either way horrendous, like worthy of a no-show, right?
like looking at his cards, it's almost like he could play that course for 25 rounds and still have less bogeys than you had in one, right?
Yeah. How many did he have for the
one?
week? He had
36.
1.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a great line we could hang. How many rounds, me versus him, to make the same amount of bogeys, right?
Yeah.
I mean, right now with my game, I'm probably 7 around clean.
Yeah.
And he, so you probably say I play 10 rounds, he would have to play like 70 rounds.
That's what the numbers say,
right?
right?
Man, that stinks.
I've been a bogey machine at Little Mill recently, like just
Really?
just printing bogeys, man. Like
Yeah.
not big numbers, like keep it in the trees, but just not scoring well. I know the feeling. It's pretty demoralizing.
Mm-hmm. But kudos to him for ripping that place up.
Yeah, 6 under, and yeah, like nothing else really noteworthy. Brendan Borst was leading, 1-shot lead through round 1, and then shot 77 in the next round, which he doesn't play much competitive golf. And I just feel like in that mid-am, you only see it in the mid-am stuff because you get guys that were really good players or still good players, right? But they don't play much golf anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have that one round where they go out in the first round. We've seen it a lot in the Philly mid-am over the years, right? Where guys will go out and shoot that 66 or be leading. And you just kind of know, like, golf is just not a game that you just hardly play or, and have to play a complete round under pressure. Like, the chances of them going back and the next day and shooting anything good are just so slim.
It's like, I mean,
it's almost like a 0% chance. Like, it's
you got to learn how to ride the bike again,
yeah,
right? And it happens instantly, like just trial by fire. Like you just throw you in there and you got to go, right? You got to go do it. So that's a great point. I mean, we need just copious reps just to, or at least speaking for myself, just to get in the 80s or into the 70s this year. I needed like 10 reps to get there. And I mean, for these guys that are just far better, it's a whole different level. But it speaks to the dichotomy of casual golf and competitive golf, right? It's just different game, different sport, basically.
Well, moving on to some less serious stuff. I just want to call this out. We don't need to talk about this much, but I really want to pump up the 1912 club. They had the fourball out there last month,
mm-hmm.
and when everything else in South Jersey was just a marshland, right?
Yeah, this is late August.
Late August. The hoses are on early and often. You're making footprints on greens. They're getting spiked up, right? You're squishing around all day. You're getting mud balls. just awful. And then we go out to 1912 Club, and this place, Ben, was so firm and fast that you wouldn't believe it. I mean, it was just like it was almost like you stepped into another universe for a day.
Really?
And it was just a short 45-minute drive over the bridge, and it just leaves you wondering, like, what the hell are we doing here in South Jersey? I don't really know what to say. I mean, I know you don't really associate with South Jersey golf anymore because you're over at Philly Country Club, so you made a smart move going over there, but something's got to give around here.
Well, I mean, you were firing off the texts, and I just knew it was something serious, right? You guys were raving about you play with your buddy Mike O'Keefe out there, and he has been a hater of soft conditions too. So I could really sense the excitement in your guys' text too, that it was something special out there for given the time of year that you guys were playing out there.
Yeah, it was just such a treat, and we sit here and we talk about we try to be whole courses accountable that maybe don't put their best foot forward for gap events or in being open to hosting events and things of that nature. But 1912 having those conditions as they had it, really pushing the place, right, putting it on display. And on top of that, I want to note what they did. They also set up a couple comfort stations on the course.
Wow. With
snacks and fresh Gatorade, canned Gatorades and waters and sodas and whatever else. And they had kids refilling it all day, keeping it cold. It was just really just, like, to me, like, those are like the little things. Like, I would have to think, right, that the conditions that place were in and the comfort stations and just the overall welcoming environment, that place had to pick up a couple members from that event that day. I really do believe that.
Yeah, that was a marketing event as much as a golf tournament.
Yeah, right. But that's my point. Like, that's somebody who sees the vision of, like, hey, we're having guys in the area out today. It may cost us $500 to put water out there, right? And some Gatorades and some snacks, right? Like, at the end of the day, like, you're going to get your money back on that, right?
Yeah.
People are going to talk good about your place. You're going to get members. It's just good for the club, right? I'm not saying, like, that should be the standard, right? But it's like, it's refreshing to see a course that really gets it, right?
And you were even saying you were struggling to put the tee in the ground.
Oh, yeah, there's a couple of holes that, you almost had to pull the hammer out on.
But that's right, because you guys played really well, too. I mean, you guys shot 3 under 67. The winners were 7 under. I think it looks like they paid out, or 3 teams got awards, 7 and 6 under and 6 under. But, I mean, when the conditions get tough, you kind of rise to the occasion.
Well, I'm always a firm course golfer. I can't play soft conditions.
Me too.
I literally can't. Like, I need creativity. I'm not good enough to be like see target, hit target. Mm-hmm. I need to, like, bounce balls up and use that part of my mind, right? Mm-hmm. That doesn't bother me. And plus, obviously, when it's firm, generally the greens are faster and better, which you're going to putt better on.
Right.
When I chip, I see the shots when it's firm. When it's soft, I just chip so bad. Like, when it's firm, I can just see the shot and hit it. I don't have to take any time over or think. I just see it. When it's soft, if I play that way, I'm going to leave it short every time. And every time I'm like, oh, you have to hit a little harder. Then you jam 10 feet past and you're just like a mess. So that's kind of, it's like, yeah, it all kind of compounds for me into a lot better score when it's firm and a lot worse score when it's soft. So. Right.
And I think that's also an uplifting story, just zooming out to the actual venue. I mean, because 1912 was bought and rebranded in around COVID 2020 from Plymouth Country Club.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I played Plymouth 10 years ago in a gap club, or maybe 12 years ago. Oof. It's come a long way. It's honestly awesome to see that the state that it's in today versus I think I shot 90 there in a gap qualifier 12 years ago. So again, yeah, just that's an uplifting story. Just hearing you talk about the conditions and the vibe of the place compared to a while back.
Well, while we're all talking about a reclamation project, so to speak, with 1912, we'll talk about a course that's gone in the opposite direction. In the last 10 or 12 years, is that Philmont.
Oof, man.
They had a father-son out there recently.
Okay.
And I did not play. I was scheduled to play, and he said I'd have some health stuff, so my brother ended up playing in place of me. I spoke with a few other guys too that corroborated this narrative of it was like the worst conditions you could ever play.
Really?
That place is such a dump, man. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I mean, it's so sad, right? It really like that place makes me sad because at one point it was a very respected course in the Philadelphia area.
36 holes.
36 holes. They were known to have some of the best greens in the area, right? Guys, told tales of how fast the greens were, and they had hosted the Patterson Cup, right? 36 out there. They used to have the North and South Invitational, which was one of the the better invitationals in the area. Just like a fun membership, just known as like a good club, like a respected club, and now it's just pathetic. I mean, it really is. I mean, we played out there in that team championship a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like you have to get a shower like immediately after you leave that place. You really think you're going to catch like the fungus that's on the course.
It was so steamy out that day, dude.
And remember the fungus on the course? Like,
my goodness!
It's almost like it's like you go back to your home club and you got to wash your shoes before you play it, so you don't want to track anything back to your home turf. I mean, there's something like festering over there in that soil.
And they redid the clubhouse too, and then they redid that 18th hole that used to be a shortish par 4. That 18th hole looks so glued together, man. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like plastic surgery, right? It's
we're gonna glue. But a bad plastic
Yeah.
surgery, a botched one.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
It rejected the silicone implant or whatever.
And it's just kind of hanging, a little dog leg just kind of hanging on.
Yeah, this was done in Turkey, or it was a Brazilian butt lift. It wasn't a domestically performed surgery.
Right. Somebody went to Turkey to get the hair transplant for 20 cents on the dollar, and it shows.
Right. You get what you pay for. Right. That 18th hole. Oh my goodness, man. It was honestly, the 18th hole was better when it was just that shortish par 4.
Agreed, because the second shot was fine. The drive stunk.
Right, I thought the green was okay.
Yeah, good
deep
green.
bunkers, right?
Yeah.
Of course, it was a little overgrown on the right side, but just to see what, like, just the angles are bad, the view is bad, the feel is bad, the play, it plays so poorly.
Right.
Because I think that place has some good holes in the middle of the golf course. I mean, 9 is pathetic.
Not 9.
Right?
If they were,
I don't know how they haven't figured out that whole thing.
I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that 9th hole is one of the worst par 5s in America that I've seen.
Oh my god!
It is so bad.
And hazardous.
Yes,
hazardous.
There's no right way to play that hole, but you can play it up 10, right?
No, I think playing up 10 is the right way, and then you kind of just thread the needle with a 5-iron.
Throw one up there and try to wedge on.
You can't,
because if you play out the second shot, you have to hit. It just plays so long when you play to the left.
It's probably a 600. It's probably a 200-yard difference playing the hole to the fairway versus bombing it over to 10.
Yeah, the dynamic yardage on 10's like 510 or 520 up the hill, and the dynamic yardage going the other way, it feels like it plays like 700 yards.
Oh my god! And the green is so narrow.
Oh, and it's not a green you want to be hitting like an 8-iron or 7-iron into at all.
No, I feel like, I mean, I'm not very good, but like from that 150 there, I'm probably hitting the green probably 8% of the time.
Yeah, it's such a bad vibe on that side hill and then up.
Yeah.
Doesn't it just seem like, it just doesn't seem like something's right there? I mean, it's one thing when the country clubs took a downturn in the mid-2000s, right? And there was a lot of indicators that made sense, that places were kind of falling on tough times, just with the economy and everything. But now with country clubs doing so well, and then seeing Philmont, it's almost like an outlier. Like no one has really had that same downward trajectory in the last 10 years or so, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. It's confounding.
And they're building houses off of the first hole.
On the right there.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, and it's just, you hate to say this because I'm never a fan of getting rid of a course, but that place, it's almost to the point now where it just you almost either scrap it and start new or just put something else there. Like it seems like it's that far gone.
Sure.
Like,
maybe it goes the way of the 1912 rebrand, kind of needs a rebirth or something like that, but yeah, it's not good in its current state, I guess.
Well, too, there's some good holes out there, right? The bones are pretty good.
100% there. I'm a big fan of that 8th hole, and then into 10 and 11. I think that those are some of the best holes out there for sure. I love the infinity green feel, and then the short 4 10, and then the long par 3 11 there.
Yeah, those are 3 good ones. I also like 2 for the most part. I think the second shot on 2 is very good. and I think the drive could be really good with the restoration. I think the second shot on 5, that little downhill over the water, is a cool shot. The wedge. And then, I'm sorry, that's 6, right? 6. Yeah, I always, for 4 and 5, I always forget that there's 2 holes running.
You were always a big proponent of blowing it into 5
yeah,
fairway.
You blow.
And then wedging it back.
You absolutely blow it in the 5 fairway. You take the angle out of the green. You take the water out. It makes it a totally different hole over there. And then I think 7's a great hole. Like
par 4.
Yeah, that's a really championship golf hole. I mean that has a good feel in my book. And I think the back, there's a couple holes that are decent. Like you said, 10 and 11 are good. And then I think 17 should be so good. The green just stinks.
Yeah, that second shot has a good feel, right? I think it's or no, I'm sorry, you're talking about the par 3.
Yeah. It's like this 16 does too, is what you're talking about.
Yeah,
right?
It does.
Yeah.
But no, a lot of character. 17,
I think, is a great setting for a par 3. It has the perfect length. It has the look, and it's just the green's just too small and there's not enough pins there, and it's just too damning around the greens if you miss a shot there. It just seems too penalizing from a 200-yard shot.
It'd be good at 140 like that.
Yeah.
Right, but not at the yardage it's currently played at.
And then, like you said, 18 is just so bad.
Yeah, just an A. Right, just doesn't even make the grade. Doesn't even finish the semester. Right?
Yeah, and then you got the range there is really bad too. I've heard they've redid that a little bit or so. I don't know how good they can make it. I know it's just not a really good setting for a range, that like dusty drop off. I feel like they lose a lot of range balls there too. It's not blatantly obvious that you can't hit driver. I don't like when people don't know, like they're just blowing balls.
I totally
crushing
agree.
balls into but overall, that place, I don't know if I would really ever go out there ever again for anything. I'm kind of the point with that place where I don't really see a need to play there ever again, right? Which is sad because that wasn't always the case. But
yeah,
I played in a scramble recently. Speaking of like crappy golf courses, I played in a scramble at that Mountain View in Trenton.
Okay.
I'm not going to say anything about the course, but this is a new rule I've never seen in a scramble. Maybe it's become more popular. I'm not like a big scramble guy. I play like 1 a year, or 2 a year. But in this scramble, you didn't actually have to hole your putt. They gave you a paint stirrer, like a Sherwin-Williams paint stirrer, and if your ball was inside of that paint stirrer, the putt counted as you made it.
What?
Is that the craziest thing you've ever heard?
That's so stupid.
How dumb is that? So you can theoretically not hole a single putt all day and shoot 18 under or 19 under or whatever, not put a single ball in the hole.
And I'm assuming that was like a paint activation, like it was a marketing thing for
No.
How is that?
Not at all.
How was that tool selected as like the...
They claim they want just faster pace of play.
Wow. That's incredible.
How sad is that? Because the only fun thing, to me, not the only fun thing, but the funnest part of scrambles is the putting, right? I mean, that's what you show up for.
Because you finish the golf hole. Like, there's a definitive finish. It's not like, ooh, it could be in. Let's go up there and get this, like, weird measurer out, right, to figure out whether it's in or not.
Well, it's the fun part. To me, that's where the camaraderie is. It's like everyone reading the putt. What do you see? Get shuffling the order around. This guy's getting hot. Like, when the ball's not going on the hole, you're like, what are we even doing here? The guy gets up. Like, you have a 8-footer, right? For birdie. Right. And the first guy just lags it up to a foot, and it's like, all right, good hole, good birdie got, boys. Like, so stupid.
That's horrible.
Isn't that bad?
Like, did you make the rounds for the other players at the event? Did you get the feel from anyone else that they were just totally
No,
out
I didn't know any single person there, and we were there for like a client, so we weren't trying to ruffle any feathers. We were just kind of like, yeah, whatever, we'll just play, and like we weren't but if it was like a competitive tournament or something, like like an outing where you paid a lot of money and it was big prizes or something, I would have been like, what the fuck, like I want my money back.
I guess how many minutes could you possibly save on the round?
Right, 20 maybe. I don't know. Like,
were they paying like an hour, like a minute rate to have the golf course for the day? I don't understand. At that point, don't even putt. Well, like once you get to the green, we're good.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, auto 2, yes, or just do auto whatever. Yeah, if anything, yeah. I mean, to me, it's just. I didn't know if that was a standard, or if you had heard of that, or if anyone's heard of that. If that's something maybe that's starting to trickle in, into the game. We literally like went up to the pro after the announcement. We're like, this can't be right, and he like clarified like, yeah, exactly what I said is right. And we're like, why do we even come?
Right. Yeah.
You know, so
I'm sure you played in the same amount of time you would have.
Yeah, no, totally. Right? It was still a 4.5 hour round or whatever, 4:45. But yeah, it's just
that's so brain.
I just hope that doesn't become a thing because I just won't play scrambles if that's the case. I'm already not like, you know, scramble to me is fun in a small amount, a 1 or 2 a year is fun. That's not something I want to be doing all the time. I do enjoy it a couple times a year. But if that was like the standard for a scramble, I'm out, like totally out.
I agree. I think the only venue for me for a scramble is a year like we're playing in that Union League National thing where it's like a 9-hole scramble of a bigger event, right? Or like a winter thing.
Oh yeah, no, of course. But
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of like scramble in the summer or whatever.
Well, because then you get the guys cheating out there, and the one time we played last 2 years ago, I played one at Little Mill, and we had a good team, and we shot I think 13 under.
I'm sure it was a bunch of scratch force.
Yeah, everyone was sub 4. Yeah, and we played well too. And a team came in at 17, and they didn't have one single digit in their whole group. And I knew 2 of the guys. I asked them, would you guys have like some like plus handicaps in your group or some really good players? They're like, oh no, they're all just like 10s and 12s. We just played really good. I'm like,
yeah,
nah,
sure. Yeah. I've been seeing that a lot on Twitter. Guys are cheating with scrambles. That seems like the basest form of cheating, and
it's so sad. I don't get that because it's so obvious too, right? When the guy goes limping up
25 under.
Yeah. Right? No, it's really sad, and it just takes the fun. You're just robbing everybody of a good time, really, when you know there's guys in the field that are going to do that kind of stuff because it really is a good camaraderie event. But if you can't even compete, then you know what are you doing out there? Some more places that we have played, right? You and I got out to Philly Country Club, which you've joined recently last week, and they've done some work out there. Obviously, they finished the front 9. And then they're currently working on the back 9, which is scheduled to open next year. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about the work that's being done out there a bit. Yeah. I really, first off, I want to say this. I really think overall as a place, that place has so much to like, right? Mm-hmm. I think the fact that they have that C9, and that was the first time I've ever played that, I thought that was fantastic for an executive 9. Yeah. It was engaging. It was fun. It had some challenging shots. It had a ton of fun shots. The conditions on that 9 were awesome. The new range is just fantastic, right? World-class range. I think the interior of the clubhouse is awesome. There's a locker room, the men's grill. Everything in the inside is great. I won't speak much on the exterior. I've that's almost like a dugout like that. It's so unassuming. Like you pull up and you're like, "Am I Indian Valley or am I a Philly Country Club?" Right?
It's such a funny dichotomy, right, between the interior and the exterior. Yeah,
you almost think you're gonna walk inside and it's just gonna be gutted. Like you don't even do it almost looks like drywall everywhere. Yeah, it almost looks like an old I don't even like an old army barracks or something or some kind of like it's just so it is very. It's really just
interestingly planned. You're not the first person to say that too. It's so funny.
Bizarre, bizarre. But who cares? I mean, the inside's awesome. But getting back to the course and specifically Spring Mill, which is the championship course, I think the work over there overall out there is really good. What they're doing, I think if you go hole by hole, I think the first hole to me got a little bit better with the bunkering. It looks a little bit better. I think the landing area near the green, right? From what I remember, it seems like there's a little more room to drive it kind of through to the right. Is that right?
Yeah.
And I think that hole got a little bit better. I think I still just don't like that second hole, man. I don't think I can say that really got any better. But I don't even know what you would do to that hole to make it better.
There were just so many trees up the right that I think improved the hole. Mm-hmm. I've heard some things about putting that new back tee back by the 6th tee. Mm-hmm. Do you think that would make it improved?
I don't know, because I still think the second shot, I think from back there, the second shot kind of stinks, because then you're like what, 150 or 160 uphill, you can barely see the pin. I don't know if it does. It makes it more challenging, but I don't know if, I almost think if anything, that hole needs to be shorter, and it just sucks because one's kind of that style of a hole, right?
The handshake.
It's a shame, because it's almost at a bad yardage, that too. It's almost just long enough, like at least the day we played it because the ball wasn't flying.
Yeah.
Where even if you hit a good drive, it doesn't really give you like a very engaging wedge shot coming in from 130 or whatever it would have been that day. You know, a little into the wind and what would you have 120? I don't know, 120. You weren't inside 100 yards there, were you?
No, I'd like 115.
That's what I'm saying. But like to me, from that yardage, like the wedge shot, like it just seems like the wedge shot coming in could be better.
Yeah,
to me.
I agree.
And the drive's kind of like like the whole hole to me just doesn't really work. I don't know. It's probably one of my least favorite holes on the course. But 3 was always a fantastic hole, and that's got even more visually appealing. There's no doubt that's improved. The one thing I will point out that I don't know if I'm a huge fan of, I'm curious what you think, is I know you said it was in some of Flynn's original drawings, but I don't really like those little islands that they're putting in bunkers out there. Like that to me doesn't really fit. Is that just me or?
I would say I'm agnostic. I kind of like the feature.
Okay.
I just like it because at least you're talking about 4 too.
Yeah.
Kind of first time it comes into play.
Exactly.
I just think at least for a long par 4 like that, in terms of like the visual stuff, I think it's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing to have that in the bunker on the right than just like a big white bunker.
Yeah.
You know, just from like an aesthetic standpoint. I mean, it doesn't really come into play though. Mike was in one of those on 8, which is hilarious.
Well, the thing about, to me, like I agree. Like look, I'm like, I guess you can say I'm agnostic, but they don't play, like it doesn't play well. Like it just can penalize somebody to the point where it's just like it's definitely bad from a playability standpoint, and like sure you could say, yeah, neutral from a visual standpoint, but I don't know. I don't understand them. I guess to me it just doesn't do much, and they don't really play very well either. I like them on certain courses.
Yeah,
it's not a Flynn feature though. Like I don't know. I can't. I was racking my brain. I'm like I can't think of any Flynn course I've ever seen that on. To me, it's more of a Tillinghast feature, right? It's
you don't see that at Rolling Green or Huntington Valley.
Not at all.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
And anything else he's done in the area. And then you even when you go up to like, I've played the Catanset up in Massachusetts, like nothing like that really going on.
Okay.
I don't know about Shinnecock. I haven't played there yet, but I'm just thinking some of his more notable designs. But anyway, I think the most improved hole, hands down, is 5. 5 is
100%.
So good now, man. That is. I personally think that's at least the front 9. I know I love 3 as much as you do. I think it's one of the best par 5s in the section. I think that 5 is your. I don't know what you guys call your signature hole, but to me, that's the signature hole now. I think that hole's fantastic.
Yeah, that is a great question. I honestly don't know what's considered the signature hole out there. But 5, I mean, they took out all the trees. The bunkers play great over on the left.
Yeah,
right?
I was in one. It was
green,
it's a great and the hazard's well kept and it's just well placed and it just fits. It's just everything about the hole. It's almost perfect. I would say it's a perfect length, right?
Yep.
The perfect size green, like you said, the bunkering's great. I love it. I absolutely love it.
I think the thing that also you kind of don't realize until you get down there is how wide and open the back part of the green is, and it looks so narrow from the tee. Like it's much more generous down there than I think people give it credit for. Just because that first left bunker is kind of shielding a little bit of the green area too.
It kind of inches in a little bit there, and then like you said, opens up. I really like that. I think 6 looks very, very good. Minus the fact that to me that range net they have to take those out, man.
I know.
Like why would you not take those out and put some what are those called again?
Arborvitae.
Arborvitae, yeah.
Arborvitae,
yeah. I could picture the way it's spelled. The pronunciation was off. But yeah, to me, like, just say, hey guys, now that you have a legitimate range, it's like, this is just a wedge range, right? Just go there and you grab 9-iron and up and warm up or whatever, but that's 100%. It, right? And like, because to me, that is just such an eyesore.
I know.
Like that with that clubhouse look and those nets, like when you first pull up, you're like, what the hell is that? What is this place? Right? You know, like, it's crazy almost. Like you were up against one of those range poles.
I was, yeah.
You got up and down from over there.
I did get up and down.
Yeah. But it's just like that visual, like, you get Tony Regina taking you a snapshot of that. It's like, where's this guy playing? Indian Springs or something? It doesn't. It just
it's totally
to me, they've got to chop them down. But 6 is as a par 4 is very, very good. I mean, obviously moving it up maybe 20 yards or so from the back tee, but Just a really good hole, and 7's one of the best holes in the course, and that I think 3 and 7 or 3 through 7 are just so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
And then I'm still like I'm 1 thumbs down on 8, and I'm double thumbs down on 9.
Yeah, I like 8 more than you do. I think we can both agree on 9. It's a letdown.
Mm-hmm. I just think 8 should be better.
I like the wedge shot on 8 a lot more than you do. I don't know. Yeah.
I think the wedge shot on 8 could be better with like I just think that green should be like up more, and it should be more dramatic for how nothing of a drive it is. Right. Like to me, like okay, you want to give me a nothing drive, then at least make the second shot highly engaging, and I think it's just mildly engaging at best. You know,
Sure.
It's a great green. I just think it needs to be lifted and just more of a dramatic drop off around there when you're giving guys. Every player there is going to have 100 yards or less. Right. So
yeah.
But 9 just nine doesn't fit good at all.
Yeah. And again, Flynn was up against the property line there, so he kind of had to waste one there.
I just think 9 could be better if the tee was more elevated and you could see the bunkers more.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's like the bunker. When you can't see the bunkers and you have those dead flat holes and you just see the lips of the bunkers and you're kind of like, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
I think they could do a little bit better job of like lifting the tee and then also showing the shape of the hole with bunkers and mounding and kind of give you more of a visual.
Sure. Kind of like 3. You know, it's like the straightest.
Right, but it has a lot. Yeah, it has a lot of nonlinear features going on.
Right.
That kind of like stimulate the mind. Right.
Yeah.
Versus just like blah. Like, and that's how I feel about 9. It's just
because you can't see any of it.
Right? Yeah, you can't see anything.
Any of the landing zone. Like
nothing.
Barely the tops of the bunkers. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they could do a little bit better job, and I think some trees got to come down there too between 8 and 9. They got to open up some of those.
On that shared fescue area.
Yeah. And I also think on the front too, like where 6 is. If they could take some trees out, I think to open up some of the vistas there to see 3 and kind of like I'm sitting there on the putt where the club pad where you pull up, and I'm like, dude, this could be such a sick visual, and they just have you know, these trees that don't even really come into play.
There were a lot of trees they did take up around 6 too, but I agree. Yeah, they could
still more.
They could take much more down.
But overall, they're doing a really good job out there, and I'm really excited to see what the back. We got to see kind of what the back 9 looked like. Yeah. They had some of the shaping and stuff done, but it looks like it's gonna. 15 might be the most changed hole in the course now, visual wise.
Oh yeah, wide open. Yeah, it's mud. They took out a bunch of trees, and it's kind of more open. Was that kind of your take?
Unrecognizable almost to me. Like, I couldn't even I'm trying to picture what it used to look like, and I'm like, that doesn't even feel like the same. Same hole, but. No, a lot to like out there, and I played Lehigh yesterday. Have you played out there before?
No, I haven't. I haven't been up to Scranton very much. I've only been up there. I've gotten the pleasure of playing Fox Hill, which has a memorable 10th hole. I don't know if you're privy to that.
No, I never played Fox Hill. Okay. This is in Allentown, a little shy of Scranton.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right near Saucon. I really enjoyed that place. I think once again I've said it multiple times, but that place needs to raise their hand for a mid-am. It's such a perfect mid-am venue, both location and the course.
Yeah, any of those places up there.
So it caters to everybody.
Yep.
You know, it's almost become, I would say almost now with the addition of how much we've stretched out to Scranton, right?
Mm-hmm.
I almost think that's the new nucleus of Gap Golf is Allentown.
It's time to show that place off.
Right, yeah.
Right?
But don't you agree location-wise? Like, that's almost like the epicenter of Gap Golf now is Allentown.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's within an hour and 15 minutes of almost everybody.
Right.
It's like the only place that kind of caters that, people aren't going through 2 tanks of gas to get there. But yeah, now like you said, Lehigh, it's time to take the veil off of Lehigh.
For sure.
Have you played anywhere else recently that's any good?
I don't think I have. I'm excited that we have the that invitational. Are we calling it an invitational?
Yeah.
At Union League National down the shore, so you get another crack at it after the Jersey Mid-Am. I'm excited to go down and play it as a player. I saw it as a caddy, but get to do it as a player.
Yeah, I think another crack at it is an interesting way to put it. I mean, they're playing the tips that day, they said. I don't...
Ooh.
That's going to be brutal, man. If the conditions are bad, it's going to be just... I mean, can you imagine? Like, all the That 7th hole.
I'm already having nightmares about 7
Oh
Sherman.
my god! I hope that's the 9 that we're playing the scramble. Hopefully.
Oh my god!
Because in any other format,
you could see some 5s in a scramble there.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%.
See, now that would be fun to play that.
In a scramble, that's a good scramble
That's
hole.
fun.
Yeah, that's about the only hole where that hole is good.
I don't even know what I'm gonna hit.
No.
I have no idea.
I guess you have one guy play the safe route and hit the 7 or 6 iron up to the fairway.
Even that's hard.
I know. Even you have to really commit to that shot.
I mean, especially, if from the back tee you're into the fan, that could be DI for me.
Yeah, to get to the right, yeah,
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would say that's fair.
Into the fan, you'd probably hit that
215,
200, 210.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the layup right there.
I know. But yeah, that tournament will be fun. I'm excited for that. The invitational stuff, as we always say, is always a good time. I have a couple quick tournament things I want to round up, just super quick that we skipped. That NEPA. I know we were looking at some of the results of that. It's that Northeast Professional Amateur where you get a pro/amateur team.
Okay.
And there's some money to be won there. It was won by John Ruska's team, and I think he shot 65 out there or something. That's Scranton.
Whoa.
65, 66.
It was at Country Club Scranton?
Yeah.
Wow.
I heard the amateurs did play. It made sense because he would have won the tournament looking at the scores, and they had tour players out. I mean, Brandon Matthews was out there, and a few other guys. Ben Silverman, who's had some status, and I'm looking. I'm like, dude, Rusk would have ran away with this thing. I didn't realize the amateurs played up tees, which is not taking anything away from it, but it made more sense, right?
Right.
But still, just really incredible out there. This may be the most impressive win in the area in quite some time that I could think of it more of an against all odds type of thing. Jamie Slonis won the senior division in the Crump Cup, and Jamie's he's won a lot of things around here and is a good player. But the 2 guys that he beat en route to the finals are some of the best senior players in the world. In the semis, he beat Dan Sullivan 8-7. Dan won the U.S. Senior Am last year.
Wow.
And then in the finals, he beat Gene Elliott, who's just an absolute legend. You could sit here probably for 15 minutes and rattle off all the stuff that guy's done over the years. But his most notable feat was in 2021. He won both the U.S. Senior Am and the British Senior Am in 1 year.
Wow.
And these are the kind of guys that he took out there. So, I mean, just really amazing stuff. And once we see with Slonis doing that, beating world-class players, we saw what William Davenport did, beating a world-class player. It really is a testament of how strong the section is around here. And those are 2 guys that haven't really even competed in anything in our section really much, right, over the last few years. So it just kind of shows you, the depth and makes sense why we can't even qualify for anything. It's kind of adding up, right? From a tournament perspective, I think that covers just about everything. As we are just to tie a bow on this, Troy did winning that Eagle Oaks Invitational in a runaway. So that's 6 wins and 6 starts. Man. I wish we had the AWS for Gap and we can just run and just see back when Mike McDermott had his dominant years and Osberg and those guys, if you could piece together something where it's invitationals and this and how many wins in a row they actually compiled. But yeah, it doesn't seem like it's going to stop. I think he's got a couple more invitationals coming up, and he's the best player in the field in them. It's and he's playing so well. It's he might finish the year on 7 or 8 straight wins.
I hope he can make some noise in that Gasparilla next year if he's going to play.
I know.
That'd be awesome.
I know. Yeah, it's time now to take that to the to the big boy invitational circuit. And that's another thing I want to touch on is really quick and Brad Barton, who's the director of golf at Jersey. He's doing a great job with that association. I mean, I think since he's had it, there's no doubt about it. It's taken a huge notch up in both the quality of venues, the way the tournaments are run. I mean,
player experience.
I mean, we have nothing but great things to say about what's going on over there. But I do want to point something out. Their Player of the Year standings, right? Troy, if he has one more invitational. I think if he comes in second or better in the New York City Am, then he is going to win their Player of the Year again for the second straight year. Mm-hmm. And over Jack Wall. And for some odd reason, the Jersey Association gives 175 points to the Patterson Cup and only 100 to the Open and the Am. This is for the Gap stuff.
Yeah.
It gives second place Patterson Cup 125, and once again to the winners of the Open and the Am only 100.
Really?
Where the hell does that come from?
Is the Patterson Cup that low? I don't understand. Is it supposed to be that loaded of an event?
No.
It's an amateur event.
No. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, I think if you quizzed 100 amateurs, guys who play in this stuff in Gap, I would think almost everybody would tell you that the Patterson Cup is 3 out of 3 as far as the value. Like, I mean, who would you much rather win, the Am or the Open? It's definitely a more esteemed event. It's definitely stronger field. It's definitely harder to win.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I would say as an amateur, not taking anything away from anyone who's won the Patterson Cup, but that's the easiest to win out of those 3 tournaments.
Yeah, sure.
So I just don't know where they're coming up with those values from. Like
Yeah.
you could win both the Am and Open in 1 year and nearly have the same amount of points as the guy who just won the Patterson Cup. Right? So my point is, the only reason Troy even has a chance is because he won that Patterson Cup, and then he starts rattling off all these wins and picking off these invitationals, and
Sure.
it's 75 points here, 100 here, because he didn't really do much in the Jersey stuff this year outside of a pretty good finish in the Jersey Open. Mm-hmm. It's interesting, and I think it's one of those things they just don't realize it. Mm-hmm. It's just naivety, right? So I feel like calling it out like that needs to be revisited.
I think the damning thing is second place in the Patterson gets more than the weigh-in
right.
in the other two, right? That's the craziest part.
Yeah.
Right? Or the fact that you said, going back to your point, winning 2 of them only gets you 25 more points than winning the Patterson.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah.
Worth a look.
Brad, yeah, I'm going to have to take a look at that. And speaking of the Jersey, we also know the Jersey schedule for next year. The mid-amateur is at Morris County, which is a Seth Rayner course. A lot of template holes out there. Very fun. Very good place. Mm-hmm. Quality venue. The amateur is at one of our favorites.
My favorite.
Your favorite. You love Essex County. I love it too.
Yeah.
I love it. It's definitely one of the best courses in the state. So that will be sweet. The Open is at Hamilton Farm, and then the fourball is at North Jersey Country Club.
Man, we talked about it. What a great match play spot. I mean, we had a lot of fun when we played there in the U.S. fourball qualifier, and we stunk. Right, so I hope we get another crack at it.
I know.
Unfortunately, your exemption ran out.
I know.
So
I have to.
You got to go back to the.
I'm back to Woodcrest.
Yeah. I hope they're playing it at Woodcrest again.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll go back there.
There's not many South Jersey clubs raising their hand to host this stuff, so maybe it will.
Maybe Little Mill.
Little Mill. Yeah, Little Mill could be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great schedule. And then we talked about Gap. I think the only one we didn't mention last, so I guess to recap it really quick with Gap, it's Mid-Am, Riverton, Am, Aronimink. I know you had mentioned Overbrook. I don't think that's solidified yet.
Okay.
I think it's just it's still in the works. Patterson's at Waynesboro, and then the Open is at Bitterman, I believe.
Okay.
Right? Was it Bitterman?
That sounds right.
I think it was Bitterman.
Sounds
yeah,
right.
I'm just totally off the cuff here, but pretty sure it was Bitterman. Yeah, that's going to be great. I mean, that's I got to make some money between now and then, so I don't have to work as hard this summer. I got to figure something out because I don't want to be on the sidelines next year.
Yeah,
it's a bad year to take a year off.
Right. Yeah. Even with the caliber of players in the Philly Am, I might just stupidly throw my hat in the ring again. I mean, just because off the Slammer schneid, or we can continue the bit and not get any.
Continue the bit. Yeah, at some point I'm going to be running out of years. I mean, I'm going to be 35. I mean, at some point, it's hard to even submit your ticket for that 36-hole amateur, right? Like, not many guys over 45 competing in that event. So moving on to some less serious stuff. We all know fall golf is the best time to play. Right?
Yeah, it's a layup.
Yeah,
easy.
It's common knowledge, right? But it seems like people like to say it a lot, right? I mean, you have raised your hand and said, I'm tired of the fall golf is the best time to golf guy.
Right, yeah. I feel like it's just so overstated, right? Wherever you go, you're just like, oh, isn't fall, like, isn't it the best, right? Isn't this the greatest September? Like, isn't the weather so good? There's not really rain, course or range. It's just so overstated. It's like, of course, guy. Like, of course, we just came out of August where it's just a total slop fest, right? And then in the spring where it's like rainy and windy, right? Like, of course, just by process of elimination, fall golf has to be the best, right? I don't understand why. It's just, I don't know. I'm cynical.
I know, so we know you're a cynic, but and it even has me thinking, because I do say that. I think even on the last pod I might have mentioned it once, right? But
right.
Obviously, like, I gotta watch. I gotta get my countdown a little bit on that.
Sure.
I don't want to be. I agree with you. You're just beating a dead horse by saying it. It's adding no value to anybody.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just like
it's such a nothing statement.
Right.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
Way to go out on a limb.
You know what guy I'm sick of?
Okay.
And I officially have removed myself from being this guy. I was part of the problem at one point, and over the years I've gotten better with it, and now I think I finally have conquered this thing where I'm not a part of the problem anymore.
Okay.
Is the let's get out soon guy.
Ah, okay.
I really have had enough of that guy.
Well, especially this time of year too. It seems like people go down the shore in August and late July, and then kind of people are playing back to fall golf, right? In air quotes, right? And so you see a lot more people out on the golf course, whatever. And you see a lot of that this time of year. You see these people that you haven't seen in maybe a month or two, and they're really pumping the let's get out soon guy. It's like, hey guy, like, we're going into Thanksgiving in a month. Like, I'm probably not going to be playing golf.
Like, I might play 3 or 4 times, and it's not going to be with you.
Right,
Like,
100%. Yeah.
But even just so, it's almost like people feel like the need to say it when you see another golfer that you haven't seen for a while.
Right.
And it's like, just say, hey man, it was good talking to you. Have a good one. It's not very hard.
Yeah.
Like the let's get out soon thing, it's so, when you both know it's not going to happen.
Yeah, because, getting 4 guys together to play golf just in general is kind of difficult. But then, like, to go I totally agree.
When it's somebody that's, like, even borderline a fringe guy, right?
Right.
Like, you have to really, really be a good friend with somebody and really want to play with them in order to set something up. Right. If it's just some guy you see once a year or something, it's like, it's just not going to happen.
Well, and I think it also goes to the point of, like, the guys saying that are, like, the least serious about it.
Right.
It'll never materialize.
It's a soundboard, right? It's like the closer. All right, yeah, let's get out soon, man. Yeah, hit me up. Yeah.
Right. It's like almost like it's when you're in, like, one of those video games, you just hit A, can stock reply, right? Like, just,
Well, it's funny because I actually had 2 guys say that to me 2 or 3 years ago. One guy was a Union League National guy, and the other guy was a Philly cricket guy. Okay. And both guys were like, yeah, man, hit me up anytime to play. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll take you up on that offer. And both guys I texted, and both guys just never heard a word from me.
I guess you miss 100% of the shots you take.
Right. To your point, it's the guys who say it are really the least serious about it.
Right, they've already tuned themselves out before they even,
By the time you text them, they forgot who you even are. I think that's about it from the golf standpoint, right? We're kind of, you and I we're big football guys. We're kind of shifting more focus to football at this point.
We are.
Ben's on a nice little player prop heater right now.
Yeah. It's early in the season though. We're only through 4 weeks. So
I know.
Marathon, not a sprint.
I know, but your historical trends have shown this guy's. I'm all in on your player props.
Okay.
And we're not talking like anything. You do like 1 or 2 a week.
Sure.
Right? You know?
Yeah. We're not
5 in a row right now, I think it is.
Yeah, 5 in a row.
6 out of 7. Yeah.
It's been good.
Yeah.
Just stick to the process.
Yeah. I'm the worst player prop guy. I'm serious. Like I whatever I pick loses. Like I've learned that 2 or 3 years ago. I don't play them anymore. The only ones I play are yours.
Sure. That means a lot.
Yeah.
Coming from a guy your caliber.
Yeah, because it's almost like. Yeah, it's almost like me hopping off the wagon a bit, right? Mm-hmm. It's easy to just never do something, right? It's hard to balance it. We're like, hey, we only do this. Like, your brain's got to be like, no, we can't do these. We just have to take what Ben says and do it. we can't pick these things. Like, is the degenerate comes out on me with these, because once you start creating narratives for games, then you fit every player into the narrative.
Right.
It's like it's going to be, they're going to run the ball, so like, and they're not going to, the next thing you know, you have unders on all the receivers, you have overs on the running backs. The running back goes out the first play. Right? They're down 14-0. It's like Baltimore last night. It's like Buffalo. It's like you have James Cook's overs. It's over before the first quarter is even ended.
Right.
Like he's done.
Yeah.
It's I'll never forget the worst player prop combo I ever had was over. This is when I was betting over tackles. That's really sad stuff. I mean, really sad stuff.
That is a thinly traded market.
Yeah, that's like one step up from being at like the racetrack, like at parks, like putting bets in at the window parks.
Like a Greyhound.
Right, a Greyhound tracker. Yeah, it's like maybe one step above that. I had Ryan Shazier's over tackles, big, quote unquote.
Big, yeah. Max Whale
play.
Yeah.
And then I had Joe Mixon's over everything, right? Like over like receiving yards, all 4 or 5 bets on Joe Mixon. The works pack. Give me everything. Give me everything on Joey. He's going over tonight.
Yeah.
It was the second quarter. Everything was a winner. Like everything needed, like Mixon needed like 1 more catch and like 4 more yards rushing.
Right,
you
had the game script.
Yeah,
to do
everything.
That.
Everything. Right. It was winners, right? Mm-hmm. JG needed 2 more tackles. It was like the hottest starts you've almost ever seen, right? That was the play when Shazier unfortunately had the neck injury, right? And he knocked Joe Mixon out of the game as well. So it was literally just the complete one play and just like everything blew up in my face. And then it's the worst feeling because then you're checking Twitter, you're trying to get injury reports, and it's like,
get him back in,
and Shazier was done, obviously, but like Mixon, you're thinking, is he okay? Like, and then what's her name comes on the
Tracy Wolfson.
Tracy Wolfson. Yeah.
What do you see, Trace? What are you hearing?
And at that point, you're not even watching the game. You just can't wait to see what Tracy has to say.
Right, exactly. We had a little incident with that last night, too, on Sunday night. Shakir needed the low ankle wrap.
Yeah.
Reception.
Right.
He needs some. So I'm just, of course, furiously scrolling Twitter, right, to see what the. Yeah. It's always scary when you get those injuries with props.
Oh, it's terrible. When you get the guy putting the finger up and walking off, you're like, is he tired? Does he have to take a shit? Did he pull his groin? Like, what's going on?
Right.
Here?
Is it a cramp or is it an Achilles?
Yeah, right.
Both have the same reaction, right? Both are going to the locker room for something.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's funny how the NFL, it's just the same old storylines. It's just so funny how I'm completely removed from my team. I'm a Jacksonville Jaguar fan, and I'm not even saying now after being 0-4. I told you this before, a month ago that I'm just like they're not very good, right? And it's just funny these fan bases that get so hyped. Like talking about Philly, like they get so hyped up on these Eagles, and it's like. From an outsider's perspective, I just think, they're just a pretty average football team, right?
Yeah, above average talent, below average coaching, right? It's kind of one of those things where in the NFL, it's a coaches league. It's not really a players league, so the team's not going to be very good, right? If the Eagles were in the NBA, they'd be like a 2 seed,
right?
But
now they look like a wild card knockout first round, maybe like their ceiling's divisional round.
Yeah, they're the NFL's version of just like a slob.
Yeah.
Right. Bad habits, turnovers, coverage busts, but like moments of greatness. And that amounted to just a blowout by the Succaneers last week, right? Baker Mayfield goes up and down the field against him, and it's like, what is this team? Right.
I saw his first quarter stat line. I was golfing when it happened, and I looked literally end of first quarter. And I just picture mine. It was 14 for 16. I think $152 and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter.
Dyson.
That's crazy, dude.
Everyone was open.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It was you watched it?
Yeah.
It was just it is not. As a casual fan of the Eagles, right, or like a casual fan of football.
Yeah.
It's really nice to see Barkley on a team where he can show off his talents a bit. Just. Those 3-yard and a cloud of dust plays in the Giants was just so sad.
You can really see the value of a replacement with the Eagles, right? Even in the Tampa game yesterday, he broke some runs that really didn't have a chance to get more than like 5 yards.
Well, it's nice to see him be able to get to the second level because that's where his skill set really shows. And he couldn't get to the second level in the Giants. He just literally couldn't get through past the line of scrimmage. So now once you get him in open field, you're like, I personally think if he was drafted by the right team out of college, he would have gone down as one of the best running backs ever. I really
Sure. Yeah, it's a big if, right?
Right. I'm just saying, but like I do think he's that good. Like now seeing it, and you're just like, dude, this guy's really, really good.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And then like they said, the same storylines. It's just obviously Kansas City and the whole Dallas debacle as always, right? Like let's beat the shit out of our little brothers in Washington and and the Giants, and then just completely lay an egg against anybody that really means anything.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'll put this on record. I do have a position on the Cowboys next week, Sunday night against Pittsburgh. I think Dallas is going to win.
I like that too. I mean, we had them huge against the Giants.
Right.
So we had the Ravens big against them the week prior.
Yes. This was just a textbook trade on Dallas.
And we both agree that are they the easiest team to predict in the league or what? I mean, it's in a league that can be so unpredictable. They are just so on script at all times. Like they never leave the script.
No, it's so easy to buy the bottom and sell the top.
Right, exactly. Right.
Selling the top might be a little easier, right? But buying the bottom, I mean, there was no doubt on Thursday night. You knew they were just going to kind of play with their food and win by somewhere from 7-30. Right.
They just revel in those opportunities to go into the Giants. And most teams have, they go through the schedule at the beginning of the year and they're circling the home game against San Fran. They're circling the home game against Kansas City. I think Dallas circles the away game at Washington and the away game with the Giants. Like those are the games they seem like they actually get up for.
Right.
And then at home it's like, oh man, like the big bad 49ers are in town, like, and everything just crumbles, right?
Right.
The place is already a church, right?
Yeah, you had firsthand experience at Jerry World. You said it was just atmosphereless.
I'm a big football fan. I've been to Arrowhead. I've been to Lambeau. I've been to all the Northeast stadiums. I've been to a decent amount of stadiums and some college stuff. That was the most pathetic environment I've ever been a part of.
Really? Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised.
I mean, right? I'm really not exaggerating, dude. It was so quiet to the point where you couldn't scream and the whole stadium would hear you from anywhere. If you had a loud enough voice.
That's incredible.
I mean,
I know you're a big Jags fan. Have you been to the Jag Stadium?
A bunch, yeah.
So how did that compare?
Oh, Jacksonville's way better.
Really?
Yeah, for when they're good.
Right.
Obviously, when they're not 2-13.
Yeah, it's a morgue when they're on tour.
But if they're good, no, it's actually a decent crowd. I would say it's slightly above average. I would say.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Because that always felt like a real college town.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, I mean,
but it's good. Yeah, they got the pools and they got some bells and whistles.
It's certainly comical, right? What's going on down there?
Right. It's almost like it feels like the NFL version of the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Right.
Right.
The Snakes.
With the pool and the crazy novelty foods and.
Well, we got the mascot flying in from the from the rafters. Jackson Deville. I mean, if he did that in Philly, he'd be getting pelted with shit. Could you imagine him flying in and the guys about protection? That bit would last about one game. Dude, do you remember a few years ago he got stuck up there?
Oh my god, I don't remember that.
Terrifying. Dude, they put that guy up there. The one game he came in on, he parachuted in. I don't know what they're paying that guy. It's unbelievable. Imagine parachuting that mascot coming to the stadium.
Yeah, it's got to be hot,
on a windy day.
too.
Oh my god, jumping. I mean, the poor guy, it's like abuse, whoever does that. I mean, really.
Oh my god.
They had him jumping off the stadium, coming in on bungee cords and shit.
Yeah, real insurance liability.
Oh my god, one of those snaps on Jack. Yeah. But this year, I just don't think there's really been any surprises outside of Minnesota.
Yeah, sure.
So far.
I don't know. They're a well-coached team. The offensive, O'Connell's very good.
He is good.
But yeah, obviously Sam Darnold as an MVP candidate is surprising, right? Obviously. I don't know. I'm surprised by the Bengals.
That defense is bad.
It seems like the Bengals are like the 2018 Rockets, where they're night to night they're just horrendous against the likes of the Grizzlies and the Pelicans and the Kings, right? It seems like they're only built to beat the Chiefs. The Rockets were only built to beat the Warriors, right? And no one else.
Right.
You saw that on full display.
Right. They have 2 or 3 games circled on the calendar for the year, the Bengals, and they're going to go 2-1 in those games, and then the rest of the stuff, it's I think Burrow is just it seems like he only plays good with his back against the wall.
Yeah.
Like, he seems like one of those guys, like, in a Philly qualifier, like, if you sent him out to, like, Coatesville or something, or Mercer Oaks, like, he would just mail it in and shoot 80. Like, he wouldn't be interested.
It sounds like me.
Right? Right, though?
Yeah.
But
no,
it's like...
He's
but
a
it's
big
like,
game hunter, I
but
guess.
as soon as... Yeah. But as soon as his back's against the wall, all of a sudden, you know, Hollywood Joe comes out, and he looks very good.
Sure.
But if you watch most of him, you're like, this guy kind of stinks.
Right.
Right?
He showed very well in that Kansas City game.
He did.
And, I mean, they were 2 flags away from
beating those guys.
From beating him, right? And so, yeah, that's an interesting case study.
They're still going to win. I still think that they have a decent chance at a wild card still at 1-3. I think, like, a chance, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the division with... I guess you can't say it's out of reach yet because the Ravens are 2-2 and the Steelers are going to come back to earth, obviously.
Yeah.
That's kind of, and the Browns are just pathetic. I mean,
Pathetic.
really, but that Deshaun Watson is so bad.
He is.
He is so bad.
I'm almost shocked how bad.
Yeah, no, it's almost like it's almost like that Space Jam. You know, the extraterrestrial came down and stole his powers. Like,
Right.
you know, really, it looks like ever since he got caught with those scandals, like he's just like
It's crazy.
he's like an empty head up there. He can't play. He literally can't play.
It's so weird.
He lost his athleticism too, though. It's not even like he's a bonehead out there. Like, he just looks like an idiot.
Right, and he's a slow processor, right? It just seems
Yeah,
he's late. He's always late on everything.
Yeah, he's late on everything.
He's perpetually late.
Right.
It's weird in the league, though. You have, like, it seems like there's 2 groups, right? There's this one group of quarterbacks that, like, were once good and are now just, like, cheeks, right? I'm thinking, like, Russ. Cooked.
Yeah.
Like, just so cooked. Deshaun Watson, just cooked. I mean, those 2 come to mind. I don't know if you can think of any.
I mean,
others.
Trevor, I guess, was good at one point.
Right.
I've had the fork in him for a little bit.
Right, Trevor, cooked.
Cooked, yeah,
right?
stinks.
And then you have the other faction that were, like, completely cooked at the beginning and are now, like, somewhat good.
Competent, yeah.
Like,
very competent.
Like Baker, Darnold, Geno Smith.
Yeah.
Right?
Jared Goff. I mean,
Jared Goff, I guess.
He was almost casted out of the league at one point. I mean, he couldn't play at all, and now he's
incredible.
very competent. Yeah, it is very, very odd. And
Yeah.
I'm sure we're missing a guy or two, too. I'm racking my brain here. But, yeah, the quarterback landscape's weird. The play's been bad. The quarterback play overall has been very bad.
Yeah. I can't. It might be some X's and O's defensive stuff, right? Too high shell. Not to get too into the weeds on that, stuff like that. But defenses have appeared to catch up and are just forcing teams to dink and dunk their way down the field. And a lot of the modern style quarterback, they don't want to do that.
They don't have
stuff.
the patience. Yeah, they're
But
not surgeons.
But
yeah.
like if Peyton Manning,
he would
and
just
Tom Brady
carve these defenses.
they would just crush everyone. Right.
Well, a lot of these guys now are just 1 and 2 read guys too.
Right.
No one's getting to their 3rd and 4th read.
Right.
And that's just not that's not even what the design is anymore.
Right.
There's there's
a lot of paint by numbers stuff.
There's a hey. This is who it's designed to go to. If it's not there, you dump it at this guy,
Right.
or you throw it into the bleachers. Yeah, there's no surgical quarterbacks out there anymore, right? Even the good quarterbacks are all playground football guys.
Right, and the guys that have learned to dial that back in are like Mahomes, who's winning Super Bowls, and like Josh Allen has seemed to kind of be check down Charlie from time to time, but he has been doing some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Those Bills are pathetic.
Well, he has to though because they're not very good, that team overall. I mean, they live and die by his play, like straight up. I mean, even the Chiefs, Mahomes can play bad, and they can run the ball and they can play good defense and still grind out wins against bad teams, right? Kind of like they did last year for a bulk of the season.
Right.
But Allen, it's very much like if he doesn't play well, there's not much going on around him that's going to indicate a win.
And talk about a vaunted defense. Sean McDermott's
Oh
such
my
a
God,
dope
he
dude.
stinks, man. He really does. I mean, I think the most vaunted defense of all times was that number 1 ranked Bills defense a couple
2
years
years
ago.
ago or
Oh
something?
my God,
Yeah.
they weren't even good.
They played the dregs of the league.
Right,
That year.
they played the. It was so misleading, and they still taunt that around. I heard on the game the other night, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's like that number 1." It's like that's crazy to say that was a number 1 defense.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone can see right through that.
Oh my
and like,
God.
oh, it was so great until they lost Micah Hyde, and it's like, come on.
Micah was shot at that point too, right? That defense is so much worse than that Ravens defense last year.
Yes.
The one that just
Yes.
totally pants Brock Purdy and some good teams. Just rock some good teams, right?
No, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think if you quizzed any offensive coordinator, head coach, GM, like anyone thought that Bills defense was anything to be scared of.
No. Yeah. Because, I mean, that's what happens every year. The Bills get to the playoffs and they just get pasted by, Skylar Thompson hung 33.
Oh my God!
In Buffalo, in the
lost.
snow.
I remember that.
And Skylar Thompson's basically out of the league at this point. He got, one shot, and now it's...
He's essentially like Scott Tolzien, right?
right. Like one of those 14-point adjustments, right, from Rodgers to Scotty T.
I'm surprised the Packers aren't going to sign him as a backup. I mean,
Right.
the backups they've had over the years, that's basically what he looks like. You're watching Seneca Wallace running
Right.
around
I
out
mean,
there or
as we're
something.
recording right now, we're 2 hours from kick of Titans Dolphins, and it's Tyler Snoop Huntley getting the start tonight over Skylar T. For Miami.
Huntley's playing tonight.
Snoop Huntley.
No
yep.
way. Oh, he's going by Snoop Huntley now?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize that. He's got the hyphen back? Okay.
Yeah. No, just Snoop Huntley.
Oh, they don't
First name, last name.
Okay. Really?
Yeah. Tyler, in quotes, Snoop Huntley.
So you picked up a nickname over the offseason.
Right. Well, my name he's just Lamar Light. In
Lamar
in that stint in Baltimore, he did.
I actually like Huntley. Like, I don't think he's good.
Right.
But I think he has a place in the league. He's a backup that can run around and win you a couple games. Wait, you're talking about, am I getting confused? Why am I thinking of, I'm thinking of Brett. I'm sorry, when you said Hundley, I'm thinking of Brett Hundley. I'm like, dude, he's been so gone. Like, no, Tyler, Snoop, he can get you a win. He almost beat the Bengals a couple years ago. He played well that game.
They were 1 goal line fumble away.
He's almost like Tyrod Taylor light, I would say.
Oh, T-time, T-Mobile.
T-Mobile, yeah. He's almost like T-Mobile light. He kind of reminds me like just very conservative.
T-Mobile has a host though. Tyler doesn't really have
Nah,
the
he's got a
vertical.
BB gun. Yeah.
It is a pop gun offense with him at the helm. But talk about a guy that's going to underthrow Ty Hill tonight. Oh my god!
he almost has to take it down a gear, like just take it the third gear on those nines. Like
Mikey McDaniel needs the governor on the offense.
He almost needs to let it go as when Tyreek's like 8 yards off the line, right?
Yeah.
He's just got to throw as far as he can and
100%.
just track it down. He's not out throwing the 25 mile an hour speed.
Right.
One thing I do have to call you out on. One thing you have been very wrong on this year.
Okay.
Right. Is those Tennessee Titans.
Dude, that is
I've almost never
the bane
seen
of my existence.
I've almost never seen you go to the well so many times on a team.
Can't quit them.
You can't quit them.
They keep getting cheaper.
A lot of talent on that offense. I tell you what.
Right. It would be like
It's old talent, but they can still. Those guys have a little. Everyone has a little gas in the tank. Pollard still has a little gas. Ridley has some gas.
Right.
Hopkins is still a good possession receiver.
Well, I was the guy in 2007 when Netflix was coming out that continued to dollar cost average blockbusters. That's what's going on there. I just can't get enough and I can't lose enough, right? And then we get to see him again tonight. No notes on that. I'm just.
Are you feeling done with them? You're not taking them tonight, right?
No, I wouldn't be able to stomach Snoop Huntley beating me.
No.
That'd be a shame. And Will Levis. See, I'm big on if they bench. I'm fine putting this on the air. If they bench Will Levis and put in the Mace Rudolph, I'm
You're
buying.
reshuffling the deck.
I'm buying.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the Colts with Anthony Richardson versus Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
I'm a buyer with Joe Flacco, and I'm definitely a buyer with Mason Rudolph, but Will Levis, I've seen enough. I've seen everything I've seen.
You can only stomach so many pick sixes from one guy. It's
Oh
almost
my
like
God.
like the Nate Peterman. Like you basically pick six your way out of the league.
Right.
You could play great. He hasn't played great, but you could play great. But if you just keep throwing those pick sixes, you're done.
Yeah.
And Will is what's he have 3 this year? I want to say.
I think he's
averaging 1 a week.
He's at least 1 in every game.
They're down 7, so they're getting 2.5 tonight. Essentially, they're giving 5.5 because you're already chalking up another 7 for a Will pick 6, right?
Oh my god.
No, I'm just saying, right? Like,
I don't
you're
disagree,
right, right? Like you're already behind the 8 ball before the game starts.
Right, and every one of them others betting that Miami defense anytime touchdown prop, right? That just seems like the bet du jour. Right? It seems almost too easy, right? I can't quit him. But again, I'm willing to go on record saying that if he does get the bench for Mason Rudolph, I'm going to get right back on the horse.
Yeah, Rudolph's another guy, man. He's hard to buy into too. I'm really excited this year. We haven't seen any bad quarterback injuries yet, because I really, really get discouraged earlier in the year when you have like the Rodgers go down and then you have the Jets with 4 primetime games.
Right.
I mean, it's just so bad. Like when you get those, you know,
Mike White experience.
Well, not only that, it's bad from a viewership perspective, but it's so bad from a betting perspective. It's like, do you like the Jets plus 11.5 tonight at home against the Chiefs? It's like, I don't fucking know, right? Like it's like once you get in that territory, like when you're getting double-digit points at home, everything's all off the table.
100%.
Like it's just like it's unbettable.
Right. Yeah.
Like because like if you take the Jets, like you feel like sure. If you ran the simulation 100 times, the Jets probably win cover 53 or 54 out of 100. Like there's a little value there, but can you stomach watching them just hold on for dear life to lose by 10? You know,
that's how I feel.
Like I can't do that anymore. I'm too old for like I can't do it. I really can't stomach it.
Well, that's how I felt with the Tennessee Titans too. With just because I know the pick 6 is coming. Like you just know the bad stuff's happening. Right, it's just not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
When's the timing of it going to be? Like, are we going to be in a huge hole early? Or are we just going to blow this thing late like we did against the Bears? Like, what's right?
Man,
like,
that Bears. Oh my goodness.
There's something about betting. I would even throw the Jags in there, even though they're my team, and the Titans I'd throw in there, and even the Texans. Like those teams that are when they're bad and they have like those comically bad jerseys as well. Then you almost feel like you're betting on like an inferior product.
Right, the color rush.
Yeah.
Very, very XFL.
It feels like you're betting on the AFL or something. It doesn't even feel like you're watching. Yeah, nothing about it screams like a professional product.
Right. Yeah, you're betting on the San Antonio Brahmas or whatever. Right. Yeah. Coached by some has-been.
Yeah, by John D. Filippo or something. Flip
or Todd
J.
Haley.
Flip. Todd Haley. Angry
Jackson.
Angry Todd. Yeah. Hugh Jackson. All right, we could talk football all day.
I know.
We'll stop now,
Yeah.
but we'll keep doing this. The football at the end of the episodes for the remainder of the football season.
Yeah.
If one person listens, then great. If no one listens, then I don't know. At least we got something out there about football. I don't know.
When we gave out the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday night money line.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm fine.
They'll probably be 4-4 by the next time we record.
That's fine. Yeah, we'll check in then.
Yeah, they'll be rearing up for that Turkey Day bashing. I don't even, who are they playing? Who's on the chopping block this year?
Who are they going to baste? Probably the Giants.
Yeah, it sounds like
in Jerry World.
And you can already put up the spread for this game. It's -10 every year. Dallas -10 against the Giants at home.
Right. It's always the longest shot in those Turkey Day money line parlay.
And then you get Dak eating the turkey leg afterwards.
Right.
You know, and
right.
Dak.
Zeke's jumping in the Salvation Army
bucket.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might have a hard time fitting in that thing these days. You might have to get someone else to do that.
Right. You might need one of those hydraulic lifts to get him in one of those things.
Yeah, he's getting a little too old to be hopping in and out of stuff like that. He could have a soft tissue injury. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you guys in a few weeks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.